DadPod episode 6. Last time I said 6, it wasn't. That was 5. This is 6 this time, unless I've got it wrong again. Welcome back. Back on the couch today. We was meant to have Chiro. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it. We've got Tom. So every 5 episodes, we said we're gonna try and collaborate. Yeah. So we've got Tom back. How are you, Tom?
Do you know what? Closing up the end of the year. I'm glad to be on. I know this is a last minute New Year's Eve, but really looking forward to the show.
Great stuff. Tom, rightfully so, wanted to change a few things from last time, and I think it only makes sense. Last time you lot came on as guests and I kind of like interviewed. This time we're gonna have a little bit more challenging conversations and theme it a little bit more, right? And Tom guided that. So we're gonna make it more about like entering the new year, getting rid of the old, bringing in the new. So that's gonna be the focus of today's convo, right? So let's get down to the nitty gritty, man. Tom, what is something this year that's worked for you? A hack? What did you implement that just worked for you this year that won't be changing for next year?
It won't be changing. Something I'll be pushing more. Something you've hit home a number of times, and I think I've kind of neglected over the years, is data is key. It's something I've probably only learnt this year, and that's the phrase you use, which is data is key. Going back to the beginning of my journey of fitness, business, everything, all I thought was just work through it, just keep working through it. This year, really implementing, keeping data, milestones, where is it going wrong? I'm going to use my fitness journey massively in this because everything, I use every single app possible. But going from where you're just running 5K to now looking at where you can improve slightly and get little seconds or nanoseconds here and there, the biggest hack this year for me would be data. Data is key.
First question I'd have to that, T, is did you find it overwhelming? Do you find it overwhelming in any regard? You said lots of apps, lots of data. I've worked with people and they find that overwhelming.
Do you know what? I believe this is why I've never made resolutions and I've never really set goals. I think I get overwhelmed with the goal. And that's why I don't set goals, because it's almost like, how am I going to get to the next step? How am I going to do this? But what I've kind of worked out in my head now, I understand data is key, is start with the big goal and don't worry about the data so much. And then as you slowly improve and things get better, then focus in more on areas where you can. Same as if I was learning the alphabet, I want to get from A to B. Once I get the alphabet, I might want to learn the French alphabet. So now I can take it in a bit more. So the more data, the more my mind expands on something, the more data I need to improve on it.
Oh, okay. So you're saying, that makes perfect sense. And I get that. It's like, don't get too intricate too early.
Yeah. Don't get too intricate too early is one.
Give us an example of a goal, right? A goal and how the data, you use it now and how that's changed.
Okay, like I said, massively, weight loss is the biggest thing for me on this. At the beginning of the weight loss, just changing something like not eating as much can have massive things. So instead of having 4 takeaways, you have 1 takeaway a week. You will see gradual weight loss happen naturally. The more you come down or get closer to your goal, or the more your goal becomes lower and lower in weight loss, the harder it will be to hit them little goals. So now you have to think about, okay, it's not just the takeaway that I need to take out. Maybe I can have 1 takeaway so I don't punish myself week in, week out. But then where else can I make up for? So am I eating too much for breakfast? Am I eating too much for lunch? Am I having 4 meals a day when I should be having 3 meals a day? What do them meals look like? But like I said, if I would have started that way, it would have been of, this is too much for me to handle, fuck all this shit. Yeah. Now it's more of like, okay, I don't need that and I can account for it rather than, it's the small picture rather than the big picture.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. And also what I would add to that, right, is like things like MyFitnessPal, you know, like that's data, right? But what I liked, what I think is very true to what you said there, I think a lot of people jump in at the most intricate stage where it's way too complicated and you're just not ready for it.
I talk to so many men, and obviously I don't coach like yourself, but I have a fitness running group, I have a fitness group in the morning, and they want to buy a £200 pair of trainers to run in before they've even run a kilometre.
Yeah.
Let's go out and go walk a kilometre in your shoes that you have on you now before we start looking to invest in running shorts, running high-vis vests, downloading the Strava professional app. Let's concentrate on what you have now rather than where you want to be, which is a marathon runner at the end of it. Let's do 5K, 7K, 10K. Like you said, the moment you start concentrating on the marathon's 42 kilometers away of running. What is it today that we can achieve to make you get the best success possible?
You know what? Just it's a super interesting point, right? Because data has obviously been a part of your journey the whole way. You just appreciate it a lot more now.
Yeah.
What I think is super fucking important is what you said there in regards to like the trainers and the apps, right? Is that I think a lot of people think that's the answer.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like they haven't got the mentality yet, but they think I see Mo Farah running, or I see Thomas now. Oh, Thomas lost all that weight. He's got them running trainers, like.
And they think the running trainers
Or
got
the
me to
app,
where I am.
you know?
Yeah, that's an option.
Yeah.
Beginning, I'm wearing Sports Direct 35-pound trainers because I don't know how to run. Why am I going to learn to run in? That would be like me going to go and get the most expensive push bike now and saying I'm going to ride London to Brighton before I've even rid a bike to, I don't know, Croydon and back 3K. There's no point in thinking about where you're going to be. Like, don't get me wrong, the goal is important, but taking the steps back, where are you right now, and where do you want to be tomorrow? I think we've always said it, like it's the incremental gains that make the most difference, rather than if you can get from here to 100% overnight, that means you were lying where you started from in the first place.
Absolutely, and it's unsustainable, right? You know, I think data, right? I think a lot of people get overwhelmed by data because of what you said, the larger picture. When like, I like to celebrate like the small things, you know, like the instances you said there. Like if you can break it down into a 2 kg weight loss, or even
less.
Yeah, even less than that. Yeah, like in regards to the run, it's like if you're so focused on getting a sub 25k, you won't actually even appreciate the data of like clocking 100k in a month, you know, like that kind of stuff, you know, like
one of the things that I've always said is, you see, that at school, I don't know whether you knew, I never knew school was broken down into 6-week terms. Every year school started, I know now massively now, only because of the kids and I work with children as well. But if I would have known that and you broke down the school year into 6-week terms, I was looking forward to the summer holidays at the end of the year rather than expecting 6-week terms led to another week off or 2 weeks off. I was just stressing out about the summer holidays all the time and finishing school. But if I would have broke it down, I might have done better in school because I didn't understand, you know what? All I need to do is do 6 pieces of homework for this one subject and I'm finished for the year. Yeah. All I need to do is 6 classes in that class and I'm done for the term. But instead I'm thinking, I've got 64 classes to go, 63 classes to go. So I'm overburdened with how much weight, like Atlas carrying the world on his back because the world's on my back. But the reality is, it's only 6, not 64.
It's wild, yeah. You know, I won't go too much into it. You know, from an NLP perspective, neuro-linguistic programming, right? They say that's where systems fail us. So, like, you see how your brain works in a particular way. Yeah? You see it as numbers and large and chunked off and stuff like that. So, in regards to goals, right? They say if you can communicate and appreciate how that person's mind works, you can make the load easier for them. Yeah. So, like, for example, some people might just be day-to-day-ty. Do you get what I'm saying? Like they might just like thrive on, don't tell me what's happening past the next 24 hours. I
just want to get through today.
Yeah, but you see how your brain works, yeah? But obviously the expectations on the schooling system can't be, we can make Thomas, Damien, everybody see it the way it is. But it's very interesting. You say that, like how your brain computes data. To stress that point even further, I think everybody should appreciate that what data they excites them to, innit? What data excites them. Because some people I know love running 100 km per month. Other people like to know times and slot, you know, like
everyone appreciates and likes something.
Yeah.
And you want to work it out. Since we've been working together, and I've always said I don't like goals, but everything is a small goal in some way. If you want to achieve it, it's actually a goal.
Yeah, of course.
And I was thinking about it on the way here, and I believe that by having New Year's resolution, because I've never set New Year's resolutions, as I said, I didn't do it because I didn't want to burden myself or I didn't want to fail at it. So rather than looking at the big goal, which is, you know what, by the end of the year, I want 50k in my account. No, what can I do to get 5k this month? And then we break it down into 5k 12 times. That's 60k. That's more than what I wanted in the first place. But when I burden myself with something, now I'm more likely to be depressed, upset, more likely to feel anxious about not achieving it. But every time you achieve a small goal, you feel good about yourself. Don't you? Like,
Yeah. That's super interesting. You know what? Just my thing, right?
Yeah.
To add to yours, ties in perfectly with that. So this year, I focus on skill. I know I kept saying it to you, skill, right? And I think it just adds to your point, right? So this whole year, right, what I wanted to drive home, right, I'll use fitness as the example, right? I wanted to learn a new skill. And I haven't really spoke about why, right? And the reason why is that I believe that like challenging yourself with new skills to a degree is actually the only way you can get to the next level, right? I think you can like push and grunt and work hard to a point, but I think without necessarily like learning a new skill, you're going to be it's going to be too exhausting to maintain that, right? So for example, it's Olympic lifting, right? Olympic lifting. And this isn't entirely true for everything because ultimately you have to work hard, right? Yeah. So like what I mean by this is like Olympic lifting, right? Like a lot of people would say like the way to Olympic lift, right, is to get stronger, is to add mass and just keep lifting. But the truth is, right, is if you do not develop, or if you don't learn the skills or you don't learn the nits and the crannies to actually get in the positions to lift, no matter how fucking strong you get, you can't lift it if you don't become mobile enough, if you don't pull at the right time, if you don't get your elbows high enough, right? And I've just found that extremely important. I feel like my ceiling for working hard, the reason I was working hard was just a way to avoid learning new skills, T.
I was listening to something the other day and I was talking about lifting and he said 160 kg feels like 220 kg. Like weight, once you get to a certain weight, it feels the same weight. All it is another goal with a couple of kilograms on each side. But the difference between that weight isn't strength all the time. Sometimes, like you said, it's the skill that you learn in between the two strengths that get you there. Did you stretch enough? Did you warm up enough? Are you in the right frame of mind? There's so much behind getting to the next level. Like I said, it's not always about how hard you can push. It's about what skills did you pick up getting to that next. And like we said there when he was talking about the data, it's the journey and learning curve that you have from the difference between being broke and being a millionaire. Like you lot might have the exact same game plan. But they learned something on their way there and you decided to stay where you are. And you might even both make $1 million. And you say this quite a lot of times. And you might lose your $1 million and they lose their $1 million. But because they learned something and you just got given the $1 million, you'll never get that $1 million again.
You're never going to be able to replicate it. But Tom, honestly, so just to touch on that point, right? And this is going to sound extremely like this isn't to sound arrogant or to dismiss anybody's journey, right? But if you are completely obsessed by cleaning this floor, cleaning this place, right? And fucking, you do it to the best of your fucking ability, right? Listen, you have a very low cap in terms of earning, right? But if you develop new skills like, I don't know, networking, being able to talk to the person in the next room and being able to employ people, right? Even you can still work hard, right? But you can now clean 2 rooms. You can clean some
money
rooms.
off the person cleaning the room. It's the innovation of it as well. Like you said, I learned how to clean this room. It takes me 4 hours a day. How can I make me take 2 hours a day and it gets exactly the same clean out of it? What did you learn? Okay, not cutting corners, but you know what? This is how I do it now because I planned a way of it. I don't just come in and clean. I plan that clean. That needs 20 minutes. That needs 5 minutes, not 20 minutes each. And then we move on to the next room.
Yeah, absolutely. To a point, right? I think I said this to you, right? I was talking to Vix, right? During midpoint of the year or just before the midpoint of the year, right? I hired someone, right, to do a particular part of my business here, and for about 3 months I struggled, right? Do you know why? Psychologically, I couldn't believe, right? I thought part of my business was like a superpower for me. Like I do this fucking really good. I brought someone on board, and they were better than me at it, right? And for a bit, like it stunted me a little bit because I thought like this is the reason why I was thriving, you know, like and I know it's quite egotistical, but for me, right, it was like, wow, like this particular skill that I think I'm good at, like I wasn't that good at. People better than me, right? And then I really took a look at myself and I was like, to be 100% fucking honest, like I'm not. This isn't even the skill I want to get good at, right? So this whole year, skill. So it was skill over willpower. I feel like I've wanted people to know me for working hard. Like, oh, if there's a run, he'll do a run. And, you know, like, he'll complete the run, right? And I still want to be known as that guy. But I feel like entering my 40s, I think there's a low ceiling on it. My body's getting older. I want to be more supple in business and...
Yeah.
and
there was two things I wanted to add on that. Number one, what is your, over the year, the end of the year now, what's the number one skill that you learned this year?
Do you know what? This is going to sound stupid, yeah. If I picked one for each, like relationships, business and this, but I love a handstand, man. I love a handstand. Yeah, because my start point. Do you get what I'm saying? My start point, right? But if I was to pick one from each, it would be in regards to my relationships. It's listening, so that's not just Vicky, that's my kids as well, being able to like just listening more. And in regards to business, it would be delegation. I've learned the ability to delegate, like with egoless delegation.
I think a lot of delegation, one comes from either an insecurity in self and asking people to do things for us, or thinking so highly of, like, which you said before, highly about our ability to do something that we don't want to ask someone or think we can do that. It could be a mixture of both as well, because in where we work, obviously, we manage people. And sometimes I don't delegate enough and like, you know what, I'm the best childcare worker in the world. I can deal with every parent every day, so I want to deal with the schools. But the reality is, I'm probably not the best person in the world to do all of them things. I'm good at maybe leading the team, but if I put people in the right places that can do them jobs better than me, then the business is a better business. And I can then expand. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why me and Selena don't expand the business, because our business is very sought after for what me and Selena do. But can you imagine if we got people in the right places that did our work, paid them more, which would cost the business more of an outlay to begin with, but you would expand with less stress?
Absolutely. It's interesting because I feel like the reason why I wanted to learn a new skill, Tom, is because I wanted to see myself different. So like I've always, just going back to fitness, I'm like, I'm a good runner and reasonably strong. Like I want to be mobile. I want to be mobile. I want to be able to do gymnastics. I want to like be able to do new things. I think when you go into that realm as well, you learn a lot about yourself. Like, oh, actually, I was better at this than I was that. I just didn't do it, you know? So, and to your point about business, in the business perspective, I feel like it's a lot to do with ego. Like, you just put yourself on this pedestal. Like, the business wouldn't run that well if if someone done it. But on the reverse side, the challenge. What challenges have you found this year, T?
Well, my number one challenge has been my challenge for 41 years, which is tidiness. And it's something I'm going forward I want to work on 100%. And this will go back almost to data as well. So what I've discovered, I've been reflecting for the last probably 2 weeks, I've been reflecting a lot on myself in regards to the year and what I want to do moving forward. I like data, but I don't like it to be held responsible for that data. So yes, I want to know how much I weigh. I want to know how fast I'm running. I want to know how much I'm earning. I want to know how much is being spent. But at the same time, I don't want to be held responsible for it.
That's fucked up. That's like the most confusing. Explain that, bro.
Exactly. So what I mean is, so let's arrange a meeting to do something. I'm not going to put it in my diary. If I turn up, I turn up.
Hey, you know, what the fuck is this? We're gone somewhere with this.
When it comes to doing things, I think this is ego. This is selfishness. I like things on my terms. Yeah. So if I want to come to that, I might want to do something else. So I'm not going to put it in my diary. So going forward next year, I'm going to implement the most important things to me in the diary first. So we know my gym's in there and we know I have to go to work. So if I know I'm untidy, why don't I set myself 2 days a week where I have to go through what I know I make a mess of? Monday, Wednesday or Monday, Thursday, I have to tidy up what I dump on the floor.
What are you dumping shit on the floor?
My clothes, everything. You know.
Do you mind the mess?
I don't mind the mess. My mess. I don't mind my mess.
But if someone else,
yeah.
This is how it lives. This is criminal.
So if someone else is dropping something on the floor, why is that there? Selena, why are we not telling them that needs to be tidied up? Why is that there? But if I put it there, it can be left there for days. So my thing is, if I need to lead by example in every area of my life,
Yeah.
as well as, do you know what? Daddy keeps the house tidy. Thomas keeps the house tidy. Selena doesn't like it messy. So why is it still messy? Selena doesn't tell me no more it's messy until it's a real problem, and I still deny it's a problem and just make a joke about it. But you know what? Tidy up the house. Relationship-wise, date night. Why are we not setting a date night on a regular basis? Things don't happen in life by accident. Like, I think, I don't know why we believe we do. I think so many relationships, so many people believe things happen by accident in life.
Like magical.
Yeah, like it's not happening on purpose. But the reality is, if you want a better relationship, you work on it.
Cool,
if you want a better fitness, you work on it. Education, skills, better business is to be worked on. But I think with kids in the way, sometimes we think the kids are going to hold the relationship together, but the kids are going to go soon. 18 years flies by and they're doing their own thing. So I think putting things in place that allow the most important things to happen regardless. So if something's important to me, I need to have a diary that says, I've got 2 diaries on my phone. I've got a diary on my laptop. So why is it not in there? So my thing going forward, my thing for this year that failed was, number 1, my tidying. Going forward will be to creating a diary, book, calendar on the wall that says, Thomas, this is what you're doing today at this time, and nothing takes over priority for that, because that is your priority for today.
They sit in the same place. So tidy, like tidying up your time.
Yeah,
They kind of sit in the same place. You know, like, and even you could actually view a messy kind of room as a similar kind of a messy diary. You know, there's some great. Do you know what I like about that, T? Is that, like, I genuinely think, right, that some people keep themselves busy, and that sporadicness, and because behind that, if you do tidy things up, you have more time. It's like, whoa, that, not saying that, you get what I'm saying? Like, organizing shit, yeah. No, like, for example, the whole kids thing. Kids can be fucking really hard, right? But I do think that, like, I see loads of parents, they do football every night, they do this, they do that, yeah. But I think behind actually slowing down and being organized is a lot of self-reflection time, and that's not easy for a lot of people, T. You know, slowing down and being like,
it's the hardest. One of the things, and this is very easy to say, is, you know, like, the easiest thing to do is say no. But you don't want to say no, because by saying no, you now have to accept on what's on the other side of no, which is, what do I do with this? Now I might not have as much time. What do I fill that with? And who do I fill it with? Or do I learn something new? Like, by saying yes, I'm going to drive to London to pick something up, which I wasn't going to do in the first place, I've now filled up 4 hours of my time. I can go home and complain, oh, why did I do that for? But 4 hours is gone. If I say no, what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
You obviously had 4 hours free.
But it's scary. Like, it's scary to think, right, that if you're not prepared to take control of your time, it's literally other people. You know, like, it's other people. You know, COVID for me, Tom, COVID changed my life in regards to what you're saying, right? Obviously, you know, Dom was helping me out and stuff like that. Yeah. When I was getting asked questions about my time and my goals and my thing, like, when someone asks you, but why? You used to do this quite a lot. But why? Like, but you did it more from like a annoying, like, but why? Like, place here. But you know, when someone generally asks you out of like an empathetic, like, kind of like, but we can solve the problem, but why? When you get to like the third, but why? But you like, I don't know. Like, why are you doing this? But why?
I don't know what I'm doing.
Because I started doing it 4 or 5 years ago, you know, and I feel that it exposed me on COVID, because I was like, what's your goals? Man, I want to hit 70K a year. But why? Yeah, it's like, oh, well.
But I think, like what you said there, a lot of people, people in general, whoever, myself included, want to hide behind something.
Yeah.
So it's easy to hide behind, like you said, 70K is easy to hide behind. I work 12 hours a day, it's easy to hide behind. I'm overweight, it's easy. Once you have a barrier in front of you that protects you, like, everything else is now smooth sailing, because why are you doing this? It's genetic.
Yeah.
What do you mean it's genetic? Who told you it's genetic? Do you go and see genetics?
I've got kids, like.
Yeah.
But what about the person that has kids and is still got their diary in check? That doesn't, you know, like. But yeah, the diary thing's a massive thing, Tom. My biggest challenge, if I'm being really honest, is I felt lost for a bit. You know, I think, was I saying it to you? I felt lost up until maybe like December. I think I keep saying to Vix, it was when I employed the guy Louis. Yeah, I feel like where a lot of my workload shifted. Yeah, and I got some VAs. Right, I feel like once they came on full time ish. Yeah, my diary opened up. Yeah, I realized that like that time. You see that time that I was doing things, it opened up, and I was like, oh, first and foremost, I wasn't actually skilled. Like this guy's just come on board and done what I've done. Yeah, like I wasn't that skilled. And secondly, bro, even regards to like the fitness journey and stopping running and stuff like that, yeah, I felt like I lost my identity a little bit. You know, like I was like
put yourself into them positions.
Yeah,
you
like,
were that.
Yeah, I was just like, and for a long time I was saying, Vix, maybe it's work. Maybe like I'm tired of like the weight loss thing. Maybe I'm disconnected because I don't have a weight issue. And I was saying to Vix, and then I was like maybe it's like the financial thing. Maybe I was making, maybe the idea of like financial targets wasn't me. Like, and me and Vix was having loads of conversations, and I like, for example, to the point, right, they're like a sales call. I remember a sales call or like a call onboarding someone. I'd be like, yes, man, yeah. You know, like that, yeah. And it got to a point I was like,
it's just another sales call.
Yeah, and like I just remember, and to be honest, a little bit of it's still there, right? But I've done a few things to kind of excite me a little bit more. But loads of things like writing the book. You see, when I wrote the book, yeah, the moment I wrote the book, the day we put together, the other side of it, I was like, you know, like I just felt a bit lost. You get what I'm saying?
Do you feel it was because, well, you thought you'd mastered something, and now you have to redefine yourself? So that again, it ties in with your skill. Like, okay, I'm never the perfect or complete human being, so there's always somewhere for me to grow.
Do you know what I think it was? I think a lot of the things I was doing it for me, but there was a part of it where I was doing it to like, because people expected me to do it. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, so for example, yeah, like, and I won't make this all about fitness. Like, for example, business, yeah, shifted to online, right? And I collected momentum, and I'm like, yeah. But I did want to pivot a little bit. I did want to like still do things in person. Do you get what I'm saying? And then like I did want to kind of like, and then like, because then I'd created this kind of lifestyle with the kid, doing more with the kids, online and yeah, like that kind of stuff. And I was like, do I pivot here? Is this me? Is this what I do? You know, like one thing that kind of helped me, right, is I went for a walk with Dom again, yeah, and he was like, there's a season for everything. You know, there's a season for everything. And when it's time to, you'll know, yeah. And then I was kind of thinking, and then I was like, it's just the idea of who you're playing with, Damien. Like, and I kept thinking that. I kept thinking of like, shall I go back to running? Like, what? Like, do you get what I'm saying, Tom? There was like a really lost period for me, but that was the hardest thing for me this year. And I think the biggest problem behind it as well is that I kept it all in my head. Like I kept trying to like, oh, maybe it's because I need to say a higher price on a sales call. Maybe that will excite me more. Does that make sense? Or maybe it's that I need to sign up to a CrossFit competition like by myself. You know, like, and these
is it your baseline? Like your baseline moved up a level, so you need to find something new, or is it just redefining who you are to yourself, or not even redefining, understanding there's no definition of you?
And that's what I think. So yeah, sorry, so just be.
Yeah,
just be.
No definition. Whatever you feel like, you have your goals. You know what? I'm going to ask you to try and explain that as well, because I think that sometimes, but then I think some people can get lost because then, unless they've reached a specific point, you probably haven't seen it. It's Love Something and Robots on Netflix.
Definitely isn't it?
Where the guy is called Zuma Blue.
Yeah.
And he starts off as, he's a robot, and he starts off as, this is going on a tangent, he starts off as a vacuum cleaner for swimming pools, and he slowly upgrades to a point where he sees everything and understands everything. And at the end, he decides, I was happy as I was as a robot because I appreciated everything so much more. So he downgrades himself in his last act to just being a robot. So maybe that, but you don't know, you can't appreciate that you're comfortable where you are until you've been there.
Yeah.
So you've experienced this, you've experienced the sales calls, you've done the online stuff, you're taking on employees, your family, you're spending more time. But now I am this person. How do I let everything go and just become that person again, which is almost downgrading because I am being rather than fighting to be something?
That is a great point, you know, and a great question. I think, Yeah, I possibly couldn't necessarily advise someone on that, right? But what I would say is a good example is I had gallstones, yeah. I had gallstones. I still have gallstones, yeah. And they said a dietary as like a particular diet you should avoid and should and shouldn't. Cut a long story short, because I wasn't eating meat at the time, I supplemented that with a particular diet, right? Yeah. And they said, "Whoa, that ain't gonna help them, right?" And I remember like then going on a different journey. I was like, I went to saw a nutritionist and he advised that, listen, I would bring meat back into your diet. But Tom, I was hanging on to the idea of myself and I didn't want to let go of it. So that's the best way for me to explain it. I didn't want to let go of it, right? And then not only that, because I was worried that I would become a lesser version of myself by letting go of that. But then also I thought, but what about people? I've created this idea of me to people.
Yeah, I don't eat meat.
You get what I'm saying? I've created this idea of people. So then tie that in with the running. I just think it's been like a really experimental year for me. But yeah, to answer your question there, it's like, I definitely feel as though this has come from the journey. I wouldn't like you said, like I've like achieved things and created the space for me to think like this. Yeah. You know, like that. This is a problem of, I don't know, I'd say privilege, but like because I've gone a particular way.
Yeah. But and reaching out to people and talking to other people as well. Like I said, it took Dom saying why for you to actually question why.
You know, I tell everyone should do this, you know, and Thomas is probably the most stubborn person or ignorant person that I've ever come across. Yeah. You know, like, Tom, I remember about a year ago, we actually had this conversation the other day. We spoke about goals, remember? Yeah. And I said, Tom, do you have goals? Yeah. And then, cut a long story short, he just couldn't bring no goals to his forefront, right? And Tom, this is such a common thing, you know, like that, yeah. And then, when you actually then establish the goal, right? A lot of people don't want to even first confess to a goal, but I believe everybody has a goal, right? Whether they don't. Then when you actually establish the goal, when you actually look at the source of why you want to achieve that goal, if there's no substance there, I think that's a problem. Because first and foremost, the first problem is you're probably not going to achieve it because it's got not enough oomph behind it. Not enough oomph behind it. But the problem, I think one of the problems is why you actually get there and realize, what is this? Like, this is fucking anticlimax, you know? Like, this isn't it. And I think, referring back to my thing, I feel like it's not just like the success. I feel like these goals, some of these goals were just said because I tried to impress Tom Chiro. But yeah, that's possibly my hardest challenge this year. What is something this year you tried, didn't work out, wasn't for you, and probably would advise people not to?
Ooh, that is difficult. Something I've tried, wasn't for me, and wouldn't advise people to try. I'm gonna have to contemplate that one. You got anything in mind for yourself while I'm thinking?
Yeah. I would. This is gonna sound weird, right? I would say coaching, T. I would say coaching. So this is gonna sound so weird because I coach, and I coach and I get coached, right? But I think that there is the idea of going on a journey with a coach and getting results, right, before you do the work on yourself, right? So I think I'm making this very relevant to 2024. I think everything's boomed around self-development, and I think people have been so caught up in it that now, like, people are like prepared to throw money at it. Yeah. But I think one of the big problems behind that is that it's like getting fucking I don't know, Botox, for example. Like it sounds good. I got a coach. It sounds good. My coach, he coaches men too, or he coaches this. But I think a lot of people are jumping on that bandwagon, right, before they're prepared to go and do the work on themselves.
I'm going to agree with that fully, even to the point of, obviously, when I went onto the coaching journey during COVID, and it was like, do you know what? I love the idea of coaching. I love it, but I never done the groundwork. Who am I to do this before I've done the groundwork, before I've been in the gym on the floor, before I've got to understand what people really want? It's nothing about me. It's all about how do you serve somebody, not how do I serve you and you're going to do what I tell you to do. So I think it becomes, I've got these fad words which I don't like, and coaching slowly becomes one of them because like everyone's a coach. No, not everyone can be a coach. Not everybody is got the right skill set to be a coach. You can gain it over time, but you really need to. Who am I to be a relationship coach? Because I have a nice relationship. But what have I learned about developing relationships and had to sort a failed relationship out with kids or with adults? There's so much more to coaching than just saying I'm a coach. It's ridiculous. And obviously that wouldn't be my this year's one because that was 3 years ago. But I agree with you fully. It's not for everybody.
I can't. You've just hit so much. Listen, this is a trigger for me, but I can't fucking stand right. These kind of like, I'm in a great position, so I can trust me. Like trust me, like trust me. And I think one of the biggest issues with that is right. So if you make a lot of money, right, or you have in a good financial position, right, people tend to just believe that person's good at everything.
Yeah.
Right? This is wild, yeah. Like, for example, you hit 6 figures a year, you make, I don't know, you hit a 50K month, right? You could fucking pretty much say you're coaching that person at anything. And because you're in a good financial position, yeah.
You look good.
You look good. Tom,
Yeah.
This pisses me off. Like, the same could be said for being in shape, right? Like, you go online, right, and everybody that's in shape, it's like, he must have a good relationship. He must be good in bed. Like, he must have, like, I think that's the thing with coaching. I think if you aren't, these people can't, even the best coach in the world can only serve you once you've done the groundwork, right?
Yeah.
But then tie that in with the manipulation of this now, the coaching industry, like, selling you, manipulating you to think that, listen, man, I've hit 6 figures a year and there's a highlight reel of me playing my daughter. I can teach you how to be a good dad. What? What?
In my men's group, there was somebody put in a video the other day, and it was like it was a well physiqued man. Like, it was like, do it now, no rest. So he got up at 5 a.m. It's like a real, got into his Lamborghini, went to the gym, worked out, went to his clean house, probably living in Dubai, eating clean. And then another guy in the group where he hasn't got 3 children and a wife. Like, so then I went into the reel, looked at the guy's thing, and was like, guys, like, obviously it is really good, and the words he's saying really do mean a lot, but you have to define what these words mean to you. Yes, do it now. Yes, don't rest. But if you're a family man and you don't want to live like him, because it's easy to sell a lifestyle. It's so easy to sell a nice car. You don't need a nice car, but it's good to have. You don't need this house in Dubai with the sun. You don't need the 6-pack abs. But it's so easy to sell and make people drool over it, isn't it? It's why sex sells, isn't it? Everyone wants to, or every man wants a woman with a big back and who does X, Y, Z. But the reality is, that's not what you want.
Yeah.
You just like the idea of it, and it sells to you.
Yeah. I absolutely. That I think coaching now fits into that category. Like, people want to say, listen, I got a coach, and my coach. Listen, if you first and foremost, the coach will never be able to serve you to the optimum point if you do not put in the groundwork. And secondly, like, a lot of them coaches, they fucking just want your money anyway, T. Like, if you don't turn up as yourself, you're not going to get anything out of it. So, what have you got there?
Yeah, I literally just popped into my head as we was talking. And it's just a hard one to say. There's probably more, but you know what? I didn't think about that question before I got here. Yoga.
Yoga, yeah.
I was a yogi for 6 weeks and I loved it and I was really falling into it. But again, would I not try it again? I might try again later on in the future because it's a never say never sort of thing. But it didn't help me progress in what I wanted to at the time. I felt it had a negative effect. I was doing it 3 times a week, running, lifting weights. And again, it could have been I was doing something wrong. But at this present moment in time, it doesn't work in the formula I wanted to do. Maybe I was overworking myself and I need to spend more time in yoga. But right now, it's not work. It didn't work for me. It actually hurt. I think I ended up pulling my groin and I was hurt. And it hurt up until probably 4 or 5 weeks ago. So probably for about 12 weeks, my groin was hurting from yoga. And it's getting better now slowly from normal stretching, normal running, normal weight training, rather than that. So it's not something I'll never try again, but it's something I would move to in a few years' time or something when I can commit to yoga and something else rather than trying to commit to everything all at once.
You know, it's funny, you know, because I don't know. Are they called yogis? Is that what they're called? Yeah.
I might have made it up, but
But like people will feel like that's an attack. Yeah. But if you listen very carefully to what I think you're saying, it's like it was just the wrong season for it, right?
yeah.
And what I drive from there is like even that. Yeah. You know, like when people like in that instance, yeah. You feel like I can't be doing no wrong here. Yoga is good. Look at it. It's the perfect thing, yeah. But in hindsight, like a 15-minute stretch rather than getting in your car and driving to the yoga studio might be more beneficial from you.
Yeah.
But because you're like, yoga, yeah, like, look, it helps so many people.
Yeah, I think you said that the seasonal and horses for courses, like it's knowing when to say no to something, knowing when to say yes, having the ability to adapt and change and just be, almost like we said there, I signed up for 6 months. It's cost me a bit of money over the 6 months, but it's not working for me right now. So I can step away from it. I don't have to be that.
Yeah.
That isn't me. I like the idea. I even had a man bun growing at that point in time. I was going to grow a man bun. I had the whole works. And yeah.
You bought into the yogi.
Yeah, I was becoming a full-on yogi, looking at the Thailand excursions. But it's like, you know what? Maybe in 3 years' time. Right now, my goal is I want to be a runner for next year. Someone will probably, like you said, say, oh, you know what, I'm a runner and I do yoga. But maybe it works with running next month or 6 months down the line. But right now, it wasn't working for me. So being able to adapt the plan, the goal is the goal. The plan can be adapted slowly and surely to make sure you hit the goal or the goal changes.
Yeah. By the way, this guy grows dreads or a man bun once a year. Obviously, he's privileged enough with that hairline to do it, yeah. But once a year, he has... I don't know. I think he's going through something.
No, I'll grow dreads eventually. I'll get there.
One goal. What's the goal for this year, T? Like, what is your goal for this year?
My goal for this year, I would say I'm going to give a goal from like kind of four things. So my one goal is obviously marathon running. I want to complete. There's no thing. The one goal in running, I want to do the Endure 24 and run 24 hours non-stop. See how far I can get. So that's the one goal for that. There's loads of marathons I'm going to do, but that's the one particular goal. Relationship-wise, I'm going to be tidier. Business, personal-wise, I'm going to keep a diary. I'm going to stay on top of it. Financial-wise, me and Selena have already said we're planning 3 months at a time. We're not going to eat out for the next 3 months from January the 1st. All the money that we would have, so work out the average that we spend weekly. Every week, we're going to put that money into a savings account and then do something with it at the end or just keep saving it.
You know what's unbelievable? Yeah, that I'm so, like, it makes me smile. Like, they're all behaviors. Really. They're all behaviors. Obviously not the run one, but if you actually look at it, like, there's behaviors to everything you said there. And I always like the idea when someone says it, bro, that sounds so sick, man. It's like when you actually make something a behavior, you're focused more on becoming rather than like getting.
Doing or getting.
Bro, I want to go. So this, I like yourself. There's a little bit more of like intricacy to what I'm about to say, but ultimately, my big thing. Last year was skill. This one, I'm going to be a little bit more ruthless this year. And what does that look like as a goal, right? You mentioned the word tidy. I would say tightening up. So I just feel like it's time to like quantify things more, like time spent on social media.
Yeah.
You know, like, and just bring my productivity levels right through the roof. You know, like date night, like making it more of a thing, you know, like that. So I'm just going to be a little bit more ruthless and regiment. I feel like, especially when I've started this self-development thing, I've been a little bit hippified to things, you know, like, and a bit loose. And I'm just going to become more of a business, logical kind of like matter of fact. Yeah. And the reason why that is, T, is I feel like on the other side of that, there's gonna be a system in place that allows me to thrive a little bit more.
So even with you, like you say, matter of fact, is that more like you becoming more through the business? So it's like this is more of a me now. So like I'm gonna say how it is, how I see it, and what I do. If it's a no, it's a no because Damien says it, not because I'm logically it's a no. That's it. I don't feel it. It's no.
Yeah, to a degree. I think I'm quite an emotional person anyway. Yeah, but I just feel that like I'm gonna bring it to the forefront. Yeah. Like I'm just gonna be a little bit more like cutthroat with my decisions, right? Because I feel as though sometimes, well, I know so that like across the past couple of years, right, your yes isn't necessarily your yes, then you're doing it on purpose, like, you know, like that. So like, I'm just going to tidy up and tighten up a lot. And the truth is, I feel as though that it's gonna encourage me to be more meaningful. Yeah. So like, for example, social media, like, I think social media is a great example because I think a lot of people relate to this. I've spent a lot of time, first and foremost, like, doing nothing on there. Yeah. And secondly, when I'm then, because obviously it's my business, I serve on there, right? I'm serving at 80% because I'm still very much like flicking through. Yeah. But I'm just gonna, I feel as though it's time to let my hair down, you know, and I'm just gonna be like, this is me, this is it, off. This is me, this is me, off, you know.
It's no benefit to you outside of what you're trying to do, and then move away from it.
Yeah, because I know, and that doesn't mean like losing kind of like the fucking story behind it. It just means that like just seeing it for what it is, right? And that might not make sense to a lot of people, but I feel like, especially you're a business owner, you know, you can kind of cross and contaminate lines sometimes. Like, for example, staff, like, you can be friendly, but like, you can't be friendly at 9 p.m. at night when I'm fucking. Do you get what I'm saying?
Even like I said, even during business hours, we can be friendly, but there's a cross point of, do you know what? I'm nice because you work for me, but if you weren't here, I wouldn't be talking to you. So let's just keep it friendly, and that's it, business wise.
And I think I've got to practice that. So that's why I say I'm bringing it into this year. I've got to practice that to the point where I can thrive on the other side. Because if you don't, I feel like you're getting a version of me that I'm just playing. Yeah, exactly. I'm just playing with you a little bit. But yeah, that's my plan for 2025. And apologies if it's not a goal, like, per se, and that you lot can hold me accountable to. But I feel like me telling you about the behavior would be a better way to go about it. Just to wrap up, right? It's the advice aspect to it. So one piece of advice that you would give to going into 2025 that you'd give to people, right? But it's got to be from last year. What would be your one piece of advice?
So the one piece of advice that I learned this year that I would give to people going forward is cancel Christmas. And me and you spoke about it yesterday while I was on a walk, and it's like, and I don't mean cancel Christmas, cancel Jesus, Santa Claus, whatever. I mean cancel Christmas as the way we know now. So let's take back Christmas as a time for experiencing with each other, time to spend with each other. We're off work for 4 days. Why are we contemplating about how much money we're spending? Let's actually spend time to each other and appreciate each other's time properly, rather than, like you just said there, sitting around the table with everyone on social media, just there for the presents. You said it yesterday, why do you give me a bottle of aftershave and I give you a bottle of aftershave? No thought whatsoever. So it's pointless. Like, we're grown men. Really think about what we give the kids. Our kids have everything they could want now. And even when I didn't have a lot, they still didn't need a lot. Like, all they need is food and our time, and to appreciate. Mimi had a group on a friend of her friends, and it was called Christmas Hall. Is that what Christmas is now about? It's about the hall that the kids are getting so they can show each other.
Wow.
Or are we just trying to live our childhood through them? Are we trying to say, I never got a lot, so they need a lot? Well, they don't. They have as much clothes and trainers and that throughout the year. So now let's really show them that Christmas is about coming together and appreciating each other's company. So my advice going forward next year, not even just for Christmas. If you can do it the rest of the year, do it the rest of the year. But Christmas, we've got 4 days off work, 3 days off work, 2 days, how many days it is. Appreciate each other, cancel the presents, work out how we can spend time together. Or you can spend time together with your family.
You know what, like, you sound like humbug, but I think when you actually look at your message, like, it just makes total sense. Like, how many people save up or get themselves into severe debt around 2 or 3 months of the year, T? Then add that in with holidays, T, birthdays, like.
You're killing yourself. We said all that about tightening up, about data, about making more availability for yourself, and all that goes to 2 days of the year. Why? Because it looks good on your Instagram, because you've got loads of presents.
Yeah, and I think, like, if you even remove social media, I think social media gets a lot of blame, rightfully so, but social expectations, like you said, like, out of me and you, who's going to be the first person to say, nah, bro, I don't want another bottle of aftershave? Like,
just keep the money for yourself, or buy me something that you really thought about, like really going to make an impact in my life. Yeah, a course. Give me a course that you think or a book or something interesting.
Yeah, that's and also, T, you know, like, it's difficult to go back, like you mentioned with Mimi. Like, who's going to be the first parent that says that this year, no presents, we're going to spend time together, board games. Most people don't want to do board games because it involves interaction. They're rather like, listen, I'll give you a gift, let me be on my phone. Like, go and play with it, you know? So it's, but I'm going to hold you accountable to that, you know? I don't want to see aftershave. And my aftershave did have thought. I did put thought into it. I went down to the market.
What did you get me?
Moschino.
You didn't think about that. What did you think about? But yeah, what's your...
the only thought I had was like, he definitely ain't got this.
Yeah.
He definitely ain't got this one. My one thing going into my piece of advice would be, this is my favorite piece of advice, and I've rinsed it on everything that I ever go on, is just be brave. Just be brave. I think bravery, I'm touching it, I think bravery, before anything good comes into your life, you like significantly and sustainably good, bravery is at the core of that. And I think most, like even the thing that to cancel Christmas, you need to be brave.
Yeah.
To be brave. And I think if you want to go into 2025 and see any kind of result that makes you feel like purposeful and peaceful, you're going to have to be brave. And I'm going to bring, the reason why I say this is because of my goal, to be ruthless, right? So I first thought of like, all right, I'm going to do this, right? This is the particular thing I'm going to do, and it involves business, right? I'm going to get rid of some people, right? Some of my clients, and people I was like, but money.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying to you? But money. And then I thought of something else. I thought like, for social aspects, I'm going to have to do this, like, but what would people think of me? Do you get what I'm saying? So like, I feel like if my one piece of advice, like going into 2025, whether you create New Year's resolutions or just have goals in general, or you have a plan, it will never be executed efficiently if you're not prepared to be brave enough to do it. So my thing, I know it's quite generic, man, but I actually prefer your one, but be nice and brave. Be brave.
I would like a conversation on one of the, maybe in 5 weeks or however long it is, and make a segment about bravery, because I think we get bravery confused when we're looking at each other and what bravery is, because your bravery and my bravery are two different things. Yeah. So some people think bravery is standing in front of an auditorium and speaking to 2,000 people. Some people that ain't brave for. Some people that's cool for.
Comes natural.
Yeah. Other people are shitting themselves and it takes a lot to get on stage, whereas other people struggle with their kids, and some people
conversations
easy. So I think the idea of what bravery really is to the individual, and saying no, saying yes, doing something you've never done before, really needs to be explored more, so people understand or have a better understanding of who they need to be brave for themselves.
Absolutely. If there's one word I use to wind people up, I'm saying you're being a coward. Yeah. And I know that, because if you call me a coward, it gets me on my... But I remember, before we're gonna end here, but I remember, when I used to ask Brendan for things, I used to count to 5. He has to be like, have you ever done something like this? Like, he does something, And that for me is bravery. You know, I used to be like, Brendan, can we go to the park, please?
Because you wasn't looking forward to the answer, but you were doing it anyway.
Anyway, exactly, So in that moment, for me now, that required more bravery than doing a Zoom call, because I don't really get flustered about a Zoom call, But I think that's what you're trying to say. Like, bravery as a characteristic is the same thing, but where it shows up
is different in different people.
It's different, and people should, and we all need to be brave, like no matter where you are.
100%,
right? But Tom, this isn't a guest, right? This is a host, right? And we're gonna probably get better at doing it, a two-way thing. But every 5 weeks, we're gonna come back and forth on here. Chiro should have been here today. He let us down. So if any of you following on social media, give him some stick. But Tom, anything you want to say before you go?
No, it's been a pleasure talking, man. Hour flew by.
Thank you very much for watching. Please, as I said, we got some comments last time. Fantastic. And DM Tom on social media. What's your social media? Just
Thomas Scannell.
Thomas Scannell. DM anybody questions or just put a comment on here. Thank you for watching.
Take care.